If you don't master your first 5 minutes, you're already behind. The truth is, most people waste the first 5 minutes of every task, every morning, every meeting, and then wonder why nothing changes. The 5 minute rule changed how I work. When SpaceX was failing, I focused on the next 5 minutes, just the next step, nothing else. That focus rewired my mind to cut through chaos and keep moving. It's not about scheduling, it's about relentless progress, one small win at a time. Anyone, at any age, can train their brain to do the same. And you need to hear this because it's likely what's holding you back today. You're probably not unmotivated, but you're probably mismanaging your launch sequence. That's what the 5 minute rule is, your launch system. Think about a rocket. The most energy, the highest risk, the most drag, it all happens in the first 5 minutes after launch. And guess what? That's the same with your life. Where are you listening from today? Drop it in the comments below. And if you're someone who's serious about pushing yourself, like and subscribe to this channel. People always ask me how I manage time, because I run multiple companies, handle engineering at SpaceX, and still have time to go deep on AI, Neuralink, Mars colonization, and memes. What's the trick? If something takes less than 5 minutes, do it now. That rule alone clears 90% of mental fog. Why? Because time lies to you. Your brain lies to you. You think you have more of it than you actually do. Let me ask you something. How many days have you opened your phone and 20 minutes later, you still haven't started the thing you said you would do? You don't need another productivity app. You need a system that starts fast. This is psychological. Your brain responds to starting, not planning. There's dopamine in action, not in overthinking. When SpaceX was on the brink, we faced 3 rocket failures. Everyone said we were done. But I told my team, just show up and tackle the next 5 minutes. Focus on the next step, no matter how small. That mindset kept us going. It wasn't glamorous, it was grinding through each moment. On the 4th try, Falcon 1 reached orbit. I'm no genius, I just stick to the system. And that system changed everything. If you're watching this, it doesn't matter your age. The brain doesn't care how old you are, it cares how you train it. Let me tell you something that messes up more lives than anything else. People wait for motivation. You wake up tired, you think, I'll wait until I feel inspired. You're staring at a project and you think, I'll start when I feel ready. But here's the problem. Motivation is a liar. It shows up after you start, not before. So if you're waiting, you're losing. That's where the 5 minute rule comes in. You ever hear about dopamine activation? Your brain releases dopamine not when you complete a task, but when you pursue something. In fact, studies from Stanford and Harvard show that even tiny steps toward a goal create a neural reward loop, making it easier to keep going. So why is this powerful? Because the 5 minute rule, starting anything for just 5 minutes, taps into that exact psychological loop. People think I wake up every day ready to conquer Mars. Nope. Some mornings my mind's blank or I'm drowning in problems. But I start with one small task, 5 minutes to answer a key email, tweak a design, or check a deadline. That spark kicks everything into gear. It's how I kept SpaceX alive when we were inches from failure. You don't need to be a genius. Just take the next step and keep going. At Tesla, when we were weeks from collapse, I poured Tuesdays to Thursdays into engineering, breaking work into 5 minute sprints. Small tasks cut through resistance and build momentum. Don't sabotage your day before it starts. Skip the phone, it kills focus. Don't wait for the perfect moment or tell yourself later, that's a trap. Because here's what happens. Once you start, your brain says, wait, we're doing this? Okay, let's go. That's momentum, that's power. Now, I want to ask you something. Really think about this. What's the one thing you've been putting off for the last week that you could have started in 5 minutes? Because you don't need more plans, you need activation. And activation happens in those first 5. You know, I've said this before. If something's important enough, you do it even if the odds are against you. And what that really means is you don't wait for perfect conditions, you create movement. 5 minutes might not sound like much, but in 5 minutes, a rocket clears the lower atmosphere. In 5 minutes, your brain decides if you're serious or not. So this isn't about doing everything. It's about doing something now. Why do people procrastinate? Not because they're lazy. It's because they feel overwhelmed. So what does the 5 minute rule do? It shrinks the dragon. You're not slaying the whole beast. You're just taking the first swing. And once that motion starts, fear starts to vanish. One study showed that simply committing to 5 minutes on a dreaded task reduced resistance by over 80%. So next time your brain says, this is too big, say, cool, I'm only doing 5. Then watch how quickly 5 turns into 50. I think one of the biggest traps we fall into, especially smart people, is decision paralysis. You sit there spinning your wheels, running simulations in your head, and in the end, you still don't act. You know what I've learned after over 20 years of building companies? If decision takes longer than 5 minutes to make, it means one of two things. One, you don't have the right data. Two, or you're afraid to make the wrong move, and both are fixable. People think decisions have to be these slow, mystical processes, but indecision is more dangerous than a wrong decision. Back in 2008, Tesla was down to its last $40 million. I had to choose fund payroll or gamble on a make or break round of funding, knowing I could lose everything. I made that call in 3 minutes. Why? Because delaying would have killed Tesla by default. A fast, tough decision gave us a chance. Most people spend 10 years stuck in one decision they could have made in 10 minutes. How many things have you postponed not because they were hard, but because you were scared of being wrong? Listen, I've made tough decisions, ending projects I cared about, letting go of talented people, turning down safe paths to build wild ideas. But I've never regretted deciding fast and learning fast. That's how I built speed into Tesla. That's how we test and launch faster than any car company in history. Because if the loop between decision and result is too slow, you lose your edge. Now, I want to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. What's one decision you've been avoiding for over 6 months that you could decide on in the next 5 minutes? Pause the video and think. Better yet, drop it in the comments. No one here will judge you, but facing it will change you. When I was debating the Tesla Gigafactory, everyone thought I was nuts. Analysts said it would take too much capital. People on my team hesitated. But now that factory produces over 500,000 vehicles a year. Big results don't need long delays. They need fast, courageous decisions. Block off 5 minutes every day. Pick one decision you've been postponing and decide on it. Take the best next step, not the perfect one. Perfection kills momentum. 5 minutes builds it. People ask me all the time, how do you stay so motivated every day? And I always tell them the truth. I don't. Some days I wake up and I feel exhausted. I've slept maybe 3 hours. I'm dealing with 7 crises in 3 companies across different time zones. And motivation? It's nowhere to be found, but I still work. Why? Because I don't rely on feelings. I rely on routines. Small, focused routines that I can kickstart in 5 minutes, no matter how I feel. You can do the same thing in your life. Want to write a book? Don't plan for 3 hours. Just write for 5 minutes. Want to get fit? Don't build the perfect workout plan. Just walk outside for 5 minutes. Want to fix your finances? Don't wait for the right time. Just look at your bank account for 5 minutes and write down what hurts. Don't wait to feel ready. Create motion and your mind will catch up. Because once you start, you'll want to keep going. But even if you don't, you still move forward. Real power isn't doing huge things. It's starting when you don't want to. And that's what separates the people who build things from the people who watch. I never waited to feel motivated to start SpaceX. I just read one book on rockets, then I emailed one guy, then I set up one meeting. Each took less than 5 minutes, and now we're landing boosters on ships in the ocean. So try this. Pick one area of your life where you're feeling stuck. Design a 5-minute starter routine. Set it on a timer. Do it daily, and just see what happens. That's how habits get built, not by force, but by repetition. Burnout is real. People think I'm some machine, that I don't get tired, that I just keep going like Iron Man. But I do get tired. I've hit points where I was sleeping on the Tesla factory floor, surrounded by oil and broken robots, and I thought, I can't keep doing this. There was one time, 2018, when Tesla was weeks away from dying. I was working 120 hours a week. I wasn't seeing my kids. That's when I realized something. It's not about working more, it's about recovering smarter, and sometimes recovery is just 5 minutes. People burn out because they ignore small signals. They keep pushing, thinking they'll rest later. But if you build these tiny recovery rituals into your day, you won't need to crash. And the crazy thing is, the more high pressure your life is, the more important those 5-minute resets become. Ask yourself right now, do I ever pause before I break? Or do I only stop after I'm exhausted? You don't need a vacation to feel human again. You just need space and a system that lets you breathe before you drown. That's the 5-minute rule at a deeper level. What can you do in 5 minutes that resets you? Step away from the screen, journal your next step, take a breath, and remember your purpose. Because listen, you can't build anything if you're broken. Even machines need cooling systems. You're no different. The people who lost are the ones who learned to pause, not quit. I'm not here today because I never struggled. I'm here because I struggled, then I paused, and then I kept going. Let me leave you with something that's maybe even more important than all of that. I don't really believe in finished. I don't think life has a real ending. Not in your work, not in your learning, not in your growth. Every goal I've ever hit, I just use it as fuel for the next problem. That's how you keep momentum. And this is the trap most people fall into. They get stuck trying to perfect things, waiting for ideal conditions, the right mood, the perfect business plan. They want clarity before they start. But I'll tell you something that's never been true in my life. Clarity doesn't come before action. It comes from action. I didn't know if SpaceX would work. I had no idea if Tesla would survive. Honestly, both companies were about 90 days from dying at one point. But we moved, we acted every single day. Even if the odds were bad, action itself increased our odds. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, I don't have it all figured out, good. Neither did I. Neither does anyone. But if you can take just 5 minutes and really push something forward, you're already ahead of 99% of people, and then do it again tomorrow. And the next day, 5 minutes of hard decisions, 5 minutes of ruthless focus. That's the compound interest of action. I once told students at USC, stop waiting, start doing, even if it's messy. You'll be shocked how the momentum builds itself after that. So here's your mission. Before this video ends, not tomorrow, not next week, I want you to go do one 5-minute action that moves your life forward. And if you do it, come back here, tell me what happened. Let's build that accountability.